Brotherhood of Nod selected.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is One, and today I have a little bit of something interesting to talk to you guys about. Because this isn't the usual kind of video that you'd see from me, but it is one where I'm sitting down and talking to you guys. Today's video is going to be a bit more of an interesting one, because recently I got accepted for beta testing for an indie game named Renegade X Firestorm. For those who don't know what Renegade X is or what Renegade X Firestorm is, let me give you a quick rundown. Renegade X Firestorm is a bit of a different game, okay? If we're going to be talking about it, we have to talk about Renegade X, or Command and Conquer Renegade. Command and Conquer Renegade was released back in 2002 by EA, and is the whole reason EA Westwood Pacific no longer exists. Oh, probably one of the main reasons why. Because Westwood Pacific was shut down after the game's release. It was the only ever successful, well, not successful, but released Command & Conquer first-person shooter, and the only time EA took a crack at the genre. Command & Conquer Renegade was a bit of an interesting idea, and it does have its fans. And so I think like 2011, a bunch of fans got together and released Command & Conquer Renegade X, a fan project of Command & Conquer Renegade. It had a single player that was released just before the game so that people who were playing so that the devs could get feedback. Command & Conquer Renegade X Black Dawn. It was pretty much a remake of the original campaign. You still play as Nick Havoc Parker and all of that, except you're working with an army instead of working alone. And they used the feedback of clunky AI and a few other things about it to work on Renegade and complete the multiplayer, which the game was subsequently released around the same time as Black Dawn, shortly afterwards. And now, after many years of, well, I guess you could consider it radio silence, after quite a while, they announced Renegade X Firestorm, which has been, well, we've been waiting for it for a long time. And as of recently, it's basically Renegade was a first-person shooter based on Tiberian Dawn. And so Renegade X follows the same formula, being based on the first Command & Conquer. Firestorm, on the other hand, is named after Tiberian Sun's only expansion, the second Command & Conquer game set in the Tiberium universe after Red Alert 1. 3 years after Command & Conquer Red Alert was released, and 4 years after the first game was released, and a year before Red Alert 2, and 2 before Yuri's Revenge. And as of recently, they have finally opened up beta testing for Firestorm. Well, probably not as of recent, but recently they held a Q&A stream, which I was a part of, and asked a few questions. I got to ask a few questions, which were answered. Things like, about the Cyborg Commando and a few other units that may or may not be present in the game. Which the reason I say may or may not is because, well, first of all, I'm kind of under an NDA, I think. But I mean, like, I am allowed to record gameplay. I'm just not allowed to record, like, any testing that's going on. That's one I'm not allowed to record. I am allowed to record gameplay. That's something they recently lifted the ban on. We are allowed to basically record our gameplay, but we're not allowed to say, hey, we want to record the testing for the game. That's something we're not allowed to do, which is completely understandable. To get Firestorm, and please remember that if you go out of your way to illegally show people how to get Renegade X Firestorm, that you are liable to be removed from the internal team. The internal team does not want random schmucks just coming in out of nowhere. There's like testing and actually try and play the game whilst people are actually trying to beta test. Because you also but that's everything else I will talk about. I will not talk about anything else regarding the game, but I will talk about. But I will say that there is a way to download it, but you have to. Everything else is not allowed. And pretty much, it's based on Tiberian Sun, which just so happens to be my favorite Command and Conquer game, for very obvious reasons. Command & Conquer 3 was also a very enjoyable game, and personally my second favorite. Red Alert, Command & Conquer 3 was where everything afterwards sort of just tapered off. Generals, incredible. I loved Generals. I don't know about you, but Generals was a really fun game. You also had Command & Conquer 3, Tib Wars, and Kane's Wrath. Kane's Wrath was incredible. Well, Tib Wars, excellent. Everything after that, absolutely incredible. Probably some of the best RTSs ever created. You had Emperor Battle for Dune, you had Dune 2K, Dune 2, and the entire Command & Conquer franchise up until CNC 3, Kane's Wrath. After Kane's Wrath, everything just sort of fell off. You had Red Alert 3, the one we don't talk about, the browser-based spin-off, and the shitty mobile game, as well as a bunch of cancelled games as well, because EA likes to liquidate studios after they try and create a Command and Conquer game. Other than that, it wasn't until Petroglyph Studios came along that we had a little bit of a more interesting thing, because we finally got the Red Alert remasters, the Red Alert 1 and Command & Conquer 1 remaster, which allows us to play old school DOS games in modern day resolution, which is probably one of the best things to ever come out of EA. It's available, if you want to play it, it's available on Steam and available on Origin, as well as the EA app if you want to play it on that. The EA app and Origin are available ways to play it, and actually pretty easy ways to play it. I do recommend using them, and I definitely would recommend a purchase of it if you're into RTSs and if you haven't gotten the remasters yet. However, if you do want to play the games in their old resolutions, you can do that with the remasters, but what you can also do is go ahead and download a version of the game for free, because the older versions of the game are currently freeware. A link to CNCNet, which is a free way to download them, as well as OpenRA, will be available to play them. You can also play Tiberian Sun on CNCNet, but not OpenRA, which is something OpenRA really needs to add, is Tib Sun. But other than that, I'm not really sure what else to talk about. This was just a little bit of a talk about Command and Conquer and some of the stuff that's been going on recently in the community, because I thought, hey, it might be nice to talk about some new stuff and talk about a little bit of Command and Conquer and my thoughts on it. Command and Conquer is one of the two oldest RTSs, well, three oldest, because you had Warcraft and Doom 2 to thanks. Those are the only other franchises that we know brought about the RTS formula. Hopefully, at some point, we can get a Tiberian Sun and Red Alert 2, as well as Year's Revenge remaster, because if we can get those, I will be a happy man. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a very good day, and I will talk to you all later.
Mission accomplished.